The first major gang Niko Bellic encounters in GTA 4 is the Russian Mafia in Hove Beach, Broker. At the top sits Mikhail Faustin, a violent and unpredictable boss who runs his crew out of the Perestroika Cabaret Club. Faustin's rule is chaos. He orders killings on a whim, even targeting allies. And his recklessness peaks when he sends Niko to assassinate Lenny Petrovic, the son of powerful Don Kenny Petrovic. That hit nearly sparks a war with the city's senior Russian factions. Waiting in the shadows is Faustin's right-hand man, Dimitri Rascalov. Pragmatic and cold, Dimitri betrays his boss and has Niko carry out the hit on Faustin inside Perestroika. With Faustin dead, Dimitri seizes control, making the Bratva more disciplined, but also far more treacherous. Under Dimitri, the gang dives into heroin trafficking and maintains ties to Ray Bulgarin, leading to the ambush in Russian Revolution. From there, Niko's fate depends on the ending chosen. In the deal path, Dimitri betrays everyone and is eventually killed. In the revenge path, Niko hunts him down directly. Either way, by the end of 2008, Dimitri Rascalov is dead, and the Hove Beach Russians collapse with him. Visually, the Bratva is marked by tracksuits, pistols, SMGs, and black sedans, like the Primo or Merit. At the start of GTA 4, they dominate Broker streets, but betrayal ensures they burn out fast. The Bulgarian Syndicate is one of the most dangerous organizations in Liberty City during the events of the Ballad of Gay Tony. Unlike street gangs that fight for turf, Bulgarin's operation functions like a paramilitary network, staffed by ex-mercenaries and Eastern European enforcers. Ray Bulgarin first appears as an international smuggler with a personal vendetta against Niko Bellic. Years earlier, Niko worked under him in human trafficking until a ship sank and Bulgarin blamed him for the lost cargo. By 2008, Bulgarin resurfaces in Liberty City with enough firepower and cash to challenge established mafia families. His racket includes diamonds, narcotics, counterfeit currency, and human smuggling. Bulgarin's most infamous move ties directly into GTA 4's Diamond Saga. In the mission Museum Piece, his men storm the museum, causing chaos during Niko's deal with Isaac Roth's crew, often referred to as the Jewish Mob. This ambush sparks one of the bloodiest battles in the storyline. In the Ballad of Gay Tony, Bulgarin escalates further, ordering assassinations and attempting to escape Liberty City by private jet, only for Luis Lopez to kill him in departure time. The Bulgarian Syndicate's alliances and betrayals ripple across Liberty City. Bulgarin partners with Dimitri Rascalov, merges his muscle with Russian factions, and intimidates the Ancelotti family. But his enemies stack up. Niko, Luis, Tony Prince, Isaac Roth's mobsters, and even rival mafia dons. By the end of 2008, Bulgarin and his lieutenants are dead, his syndicate scattered. Visually, Bulgarin's men stand apart from street-level gangs. They arrive in convoys, wield assault rifles, sniper rifles, grenades, and even helicopters, reflecting their paramilitary structure. Where other gangs rise and fall in neighborhoods, Bulgarian Syndicate is a mobile shadow empire, one that touches every storyline in GTA 4 before collapsing in fire. The Pegorino crime family is the main Italian mafia crew in Alderney during GTA 4. Led by Jamie Pegorino, they operate like a desperate outlier, too small to sit at Liberty City's commission table, but too ambitious to stay in the shadows. Jimmy's dream is to earn his family a seat alongside the five families, and that obsession drives nearly every move he makes. The Pegorinos run rackets across Alderney, union corruption, construction, trucking, and heroin deals, but their reach is thin, and Jimmy constantly relies on outsiders like Niko Bellic to do his heavy lifting. His closest ally is Phil Bell, a cautious underboss who repeatedly warns Jimmy that chasing legitimacy through drugs and diamonds will only end in betrayal. Their turning point comes with a multi-million-dollar heroin shipment. Jimmy orders Niko to either work with Dimitri Rascalov or kill him, depending on the player's choice. That decision locks the Pegorinos into one of GTA 4's two endings. In the deal path, Dimitri betrays Jimmy, and the heroin is lost. In the revenge path, Jimmy retaliates for Dimitri's death by killing Niko's loved ones. In both cases, Jimmy Pegorino ends up hunted down and executed by Niko, marking the end of his family. Visually, the Pegorinos are traditional mobsters. Dark suits, black sedans like the PMP 600, and cavalcades for muscle. But unlike the Gambettis or Messinas, they lack respect. By the close of 2008, the Pegorino family is shattered, Jimmy dead, Phil in hiding. A cautionary tale of ambition without power. The McCreary Mob is Liberty City's last major Irish crew, a family-run gang built around the McCreary brothers. By 2008, they're fractured and in decline, but their story cuts deep into GTA 4's main plot. At the top sits Gerald Jerry McCreary, the de facto boss running operations from prison. His brothers each pull the family in different directions. Francis, a corrupt deputy police commissioner. Derek, a washed-up addict with ties to the old IRA. And Patrick Packy, a reckless but loyal soldier who becomes one of Niko's closest allies. Their sister, Kate McCreary, isn't part of the mob, but she becomes central to Niko's personal life. The McCrearys make their mark with heists, extortion, and contract killings. Their biggest score is the iconic Bank of Liberty robbery in Three Leaf Clover, where Niko, Packy, Derek, and Michael Keane fight through the LCPD to escape with millions. They also use Niko to hit rivals like the Ancelottis, sparking turf wars while framing other gangs for the violence. But like most of Liberty City's crime families, betrayal and infighting doom them. Francis and Derek even hire Niko to kill one another, forcing the player to decide which brother lives. Later, the Albanians ambush the McCreary funeral in Undertaker, a final insult to a family already tearing itself apart. By the end of 2008, Jerry is in prison, Francis or Derek are dead. Packy flees Liberty City, and the mob is finished. Visually, the McCreary crew is less formal than the Italians. Leather jackets, casual clothes, ordinary sedans, and vans. Their Irish roots show in dialogue, humor, and loyalty. But in the end, even family ties can't stop the collapse of the McCreary Mob. The Gambetti crime family is the most powerful of Liberty City's 5 families by 2008. Led by aging boss John Gravelli, who runs the family from a hospital bed under federal watch, the Gambettis dominate racketeering, construction unions, and narcotics distribution across Algonquin and Alderney. Despite his failing health, Gravelli remains influential through political ties and FIB connections. The Bureau uses him to stabilize Liberty City's underworld, and uses Niko Bellic as a weapon to eliminate rivals who threaten that balance. Unlike many Dons, Gravelli treats Niko with respect, recognizing his value as more than just disposable muscle. One of Gravelli's most ambitious capos is Ray Bocchino, based in Alderney. Ray schemes his way into heroin and diamond deals, leveraging Niko for dirty work. But his recklessness attracts too much heat, and Gravelli orders his execution in the mission Pest Control. The Gambettis also play a major role in the Diamond Saga. They attempt to fence the diamonds through Isaac Roth's crew, often referred to as the Jewish Mob. But Bulgarian Syndicate sabotages the deal, leaving the Gambettis exposed. By the end of GTA 4, the Gambettis remain the dominant Italian family in Liberty City. Gravelli's death looms over the organization, but their deep political reach and commission ties ensure survival, while rivals like the Pegorinos and Ancelottis collapse. Visually, Gambetti mobsters fit the old-school image. Dark suits, black sedans like the PMP 600, and a style rooted in tradition. They represent the last true powerhouse of Liberty City's Mafia, one of the few families strong enough to outlast 2008 intact. The Ancelotti crime family is one of Liberty City's 5 families, but by 2008, they're considered the weakest. Led by Don Giovanni Ancelotti, the crew struggles to hold territory in Algonquin and Alderney, leaning heavily on alliances to stay afloat. Their most visible presence in GTA 4 comes through Rocco Pelosi, Giovanni's hot-headed nephew-in-law. Rocco constantly pressures Gay Tony and Luis Lopez in the Ballad of Gay Tony, showing how the Ancelottis extend their influence through nightlife and debt collection. The family also maintains a shaky alliance with the Albanian Mob, outsourcing hits and protection when they can't handle work themselves. The Ancelottis get pulled deep into the Diamond Saga. Giovanni's daughter, Gracie Ancelotti, is kidnapped by Packy and Niko in She's a Keeper, used as leverage during the failed diamond exchange in Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Earlier, in If the Price is Right, Niko delivers heroin to the Ancelottis from Dimitri's Russians, showing their open involvement in narcotics despite old mafia traditions. Their collapse comes quickly. Key capos like Charles Mateo and Anthony Tony Black Spoleto are assassinated during missions. By the end of 2008, multiple leaders are dead. Rocco flees Liberty City, and Giovanni is left humiliated by Bulgarin's intimidation during the diamond plot. Visually, Ancelotti soldiers resemble other Italian crews. Dark clothing, sedans like the PMP 600. But their power is far less imposing. Once a commission family, by the close of GTA 4, they're a hollow shell, propped up only by desperate alliances. The Albanian Mob is one of the first gangs Niko clashes with in Liberty City. Based out of Hove Beach and Little Bay, they extort Roman Bellic over gambling debts, bringing them into direct conflict with Niko. Leaders like Dardan Petrella Bleda Marina and Kalim are eliminated early in missions such as It's Your Call and Bleed Out. Beyond these low-level thugs, the Albanians serve as hired muscle for the Ancelotti crime family, carrying out hits and protection work that the Italians outsource. But this alliance collapses when Gerald McCreary frames them for the assassinations of Ancelotti capos, provoking a violent feud. They also cross the wrong man when they steal cars from Kenny Petrovic, Liberty City's senior Russian Don. Petrovic retaliates by destroying their stolen cargo ship, crippling their smuggling operation. By the end of 2008, the Albanians are a spent force, and by 2009, their old stronghold in Little Bay is taken over by the Korean mob, erasing them from Liberty City's underworld. Their rise is brief, and their fall is total. The Petrovic Bratva is Liberty City's most powerful Russian crime syndicate in 2008. Led by Kenny Petrovic, they stand above smaller crews like Faustin's Hove Beach outfit, controlling smuggling routes, racketeering and drug pipelines across Algonquin and Alderney. Petrovic himself is ruthless but pragmatic. When Faustin orders Niko to kill Petrovic's son Lenny in Final Destination, it nearly ignites a war between Russian factions. To prevent disaster, Dimitri Rascalov betrays Faustin, aligning himself with Petrovic and preserving Petrovic's dominance. Though Petrovic isn't a direct antagonist in GTA 4's main story, he looms large in the background. In multiplayer content, he employs the player for assassinations, sabotage, and theft, punishing failures with brutal executions. One key storyline has him ordering the destruction of an Albanian car ship, crippling their stolen vehicle racket. The Petrovic Bratva thrives on high-level operations, car theft, heroin and cocaine smuggling, money laundering, and arms trafficking. Their soldiers, dressed in tracksuits or business jackets, are disciplined compared to Faustin's chaotic gang. Unlike Bulgarin's flashy mercenaries, Petrovic's men operate like seasoned Bratva foot soldiers. By the end of 2008, Kenny Petrovic remains in power, one of the few bosses in Liberty City to survive intact. Where rivals like Faustin, Dimitri, and Bulgarin collapse, Petrovic endures, cementing his syndicate as the Bratva that outlasted them all. The Messina crime family is one of Liberty City's 5 families, sitting firmly inside the commission that oversees the Italian Mafia. Unlike the Pegorinos, desperate outsiders, the Messinas are entrenched, with capos and soldiers spread across Alderney and Algonquin. Though they never employ Niko directly in GTA 4, LCPD files and background dialogue confirm they're bitter rivals of the Ancelottis and Pegorinos, constantly fighting over territory and influence. The Messinas resist Jimmy Pegorino's push to gain commission recognition, keeping him locked out of the old guard families. They also clash with the Gambettis, but unlike weaker groups, the Messinas never collapse. Messina soldiers show up in GTA 4's multiplayer content tied to assassinations and racketeering, reinforcing their place as an established mafia force. By the end of 2008, the Messinas remain intact, unlike the Pegorinos and Ancelottis, who crumble under betrayals. Their survival makes them one of the clearest examples of the Commission's enduring power. The Northwood Dominican drug dealers are one of Liberty City's most active street gangs in 2008. Based in Northwood, Algonquin, they control mid-tier cocaine distribution and neighborhood rackets. The gang revolves around Armando Torres and Enrique Bardes, lifelong friends of Luis Lopez, who assist him throughout the Ballad of Gay Tony. Above them is Elizabeta Torres, a powerful Latina kingpin who supplies the Dominicans and introduces Niko Bellic to major factions early in GTA 4. Her paranoia and drug abuse eventually draw federal attention, collapsing her empire. But Armando and Enrique continue hustling with Luis in Algonquin. Their operations include hijacking shipments, defending turf, and expanding cocaine sales. In The Snowstorm, Niko raids an abandoned hospital to retrieve cocaine from a failed deal between Elizabeta's crew and the Spanish lords, with the Angels of Death present as partners in the exchange. The bust turns violent, ending in a noose raid and bloodbath. In the Ballad of Gay Tony, Luis joins Armando and Enrique in drug war side missions, expanding Dominican influence despite setbacks. Visually, the Dominicans reflect their street roots: sportswear, jerseys, and gang-marked SUVs or vans like Cavalcades and Yankees. They carry pistols, shotguns, and SMGs. Unlike the Mafia families, they're not highly structured, but their constant presence shows the street-level reality of Liberty City's drug economy. The Spanish Lords are a Latino street gang based in Northwood, Algonquin. Like the Dominicans, they're heavily involved in cocaine trafficking, but they operate more as mid-level suppliers, linking Liberty City's street trade with larger networks. They appear in both GTA 4 and The Ballad of Gay Tony, usually in conflict with Luis Lopez or Niko Bellic. Their biggest moment comes in The Snowstorm, where the Lords conduct a cocaine deal with the Angels of Death MC inside an abandoned hospital. Niko storms the building to recover the drugs, only for Noose to raid the deal, leaving both gangs devastated. The Spanish Lords are rivals of the Northwood Dominicans, clashing repeatedly over cocaine distribution in Algonquin. But they also maintain alliances, working with biker gangs like the Angels of Death, and at times cooperating with other suppliers. Despite this, their presence fades after repeated busts and betrayals during Liberty City's diamond and drug wars. Visually, the Spanish Lords are young Latino gangsters dressed in baggy streetwear. Hoodies, caps, jeans, and sneakers. They often roll in SUVs like the Contender or Cavalcade, armed with pistols and shotguns. Flashier than the Dominicans, but less organized than the Mafia, the Spanish Lords are a reminder of Liberty City's chaotic mid-tier gangs, chasing quick profits in a world run by bigger syndicates. The Jamaican Posse, often called the Yardies, are Liberty City's main Jamaican gang during GTA 4. Based in Dukes and Broker, they control local drug dealing, gun smuggling, and neighborhood protection rackets. The gang's most important figure is Little Jacob, Niko Bellic's closest ally in Liberty City. Jacob supplies Niko with discounted weapons throughout the story and stands by him during critical missions, including the ambush against Dimitri Rascalov in Russian Revolution. Another key member is Badman, a Yardie boss who works alongside Jacob in multiple operations. Their missions with Niko include cleaning up rival dealers in Concrete Jungle and Shadow, helping the posse secure turf against competition. While their criminal reach is smaller than the Mafia or Russian syndicates, the Jamaicans earn steady influence by controlling drug corners and providing firepower to allies. Visually, the Yardies reflect their Caribbean roots. Members speak in patois, wear dreadlocks, tracksuits, and casual streetwear, and drive standard sedans and SUVs rather than specialized gang vehicles. Unlike many of Liberty City's gangs, the Jamaicans survived the events of 2008 intact, thanks largely to Little Jacob's loyalty, which makes them one of the few factions in GTA 4 portrayed as genuine allies rather than eventual enemies. The Algonquin Triads dominate Chinatown during 2008, controlling heroin shipments, protection rackets, and smuggling across Liberty City. Their leadership is split between three figures: Xing Xiaoming, the elderly and respected boss, his ambitious but reckless son Chen Xiaoming, and trusted Lieutenant Wu Kenny Lee, who oversees day-to-day operations. Visually, the Triads stand out with suits, leather jackets, and sedans, a sharp contrast to the Italian Mafia families. While their heroin networks take heavy losses in 2008, the Triads remain active in Chinatown after GTA 4's events, proving they're one of the few mid-tier gangs to endure Liberty City's cycle of betrayals. The Lost Motorcycle Club is Liberty City and Alderney's most notorious biker gang during 2008. Operating out of a clubhouse in Actor Alderney, the Lost run guns, meth, and stolen bikes while battling rivals across the city. Unlike the Mafia or Bratva, their identity comes from biker brotherhood, loyalty, hierarchy, and leather patches that mark them as outlaws. The gang is fractured between two leaders, Billy Gray, the reckless president fresh out of rehab, and Johnny Klebitz, the pragmatic vice president trying to keep the club alive. Billy drags the gang into drug wars and open conflict with the Angels of Death MC, while Johnny constantly cleans up the fallout. Members like Jim Fitzgerald and Brian Jeremy push the club in opposite directions, with Brian's loyalty to Billy sparking a civil war. The Lost play a key role in Liberty City's Diamond Saga. Johnny's chapter in The Lost and Damned begins with the gang stealing diamonds from the Triads, triggering the chain of events that unites Niko, Johnny, and Luis in the museum peace deal. Later, Jim Fitzgerald is killed on Dimitri Raskalov's orders, directly tying the Lost downfall to Niko's story. Their war with the Angels of Death defines much of The Lost and Damned. Billy pushes for all-out violence, leading to raids, ambushes, and finally the destruction of the Angels' broker clubhouse in action-reaction. But the Lost collapse from within. Billy betrays the gang to the feds, Brian launches a mutiny, and Johnny burns down the Alderney clubhouse in End of Chapter, marking the end of their power. Visually, the Lost wear leather vests and their winged skeleton patch, ride choppers like the Hexer, Angel, and Diabolos, and favor pistols, shotguns, and bats. By the end of 2008, their Alderney chapter is crippled, surviving in name only, another gang consumed by betrayal and bad leadership. The Angels of Death Motorcycle Club are the primary rivals of the Lost MC, and one of Liberty City's longest-running biker gangs. Based out of a clubhouse in North Holland, Algonquin, they also operated a chapter in Broker until the Lost burned it down in 2008. The club is led by Lester Whitey Arnold, president of the Liberty City chapter. Under him are lieutenants like Joseph John Johnson and Albert Lawson, with a rank and file of heavy tattooed bikers in black leather cuts marked by their winged skull patch. Unlike the scrappy Lost, the Angels are older, more entrenched, and claim chapters across the country, making them appear more established, but also more rigid. The Angels' criminal portfolio mirrors their rivals: drug trafficking, extortion, arms smuggling, and biker rackets like hijacking vehicles. They act as muscle for the Algonquin Triads, helping protect heroin shipments and maintain cocaine ties with the Spanish lords. One of their key appearances comes in The Snowstorm, where the Spanish lords and Angels of Death conduct a cocaine deal in an abandoned hospital before Niko Bellic intervenes and Noose raids the building. Their rivalry with the Lost defines the Lost and Damned. Billy Gray pushes the Lost into all-out war, leading to massive battles with the Angels, including hijacking convoys and destroying their Broker clubhouse in action-reaction. Despite their size, the Angels are ultimately outmaneuvered by Johnny Klebitz's leadership of the Lost. Visually, the Angels of Death are classic outlaw bikers: denim, leather, red bandanas, heavy metal styling. They ride custom choppers like the Angel, Damon, Nightblade, and Wolfsbane, and use gang vans like the Gang Burrito. By the end of 2008, their Liberty City chapter is crippled. Their clubhouse is gone, their drug routes are wrecked, and their rivalry with the Lost leaves them broken. Later references in GTA 5 suggest they never recovered. Trevor Phillips even mocks them as a gang that's finished. Liberty City's underworld is a cycle of ambition, betrayal, and blood. From mob bosses to street crews, every gang fought for power in 2008, and most burned out fast. Only a few survived, scarred but standing. The rest? Just names, whispered in police files and alleyways.